Talk to me. What's going on? How can I help you? This is your time. I don't want to take any more of it.
Well, we're doing the midterm, so we got some
Mhm.
insurance clients staying with us at the moment over here in the UK, obviously.
Good
I've
for
been
you.
running Airbnb for 7 years now. So we've
Nice.
got quite a few properties, but this is kind of new to me, the midterm side of
Hmm.
things. And hence, I wanted to kind of connect with you to
Sure.
take this forward from where we are, really. Obviously, I know the Airbnb side of things, but
Hmm.
this is just a whole new game. When we started getting the insurance clients, we had some last year, year before, but they were like relocation people, and now it's pure insurance. People having fire and they've been displaced, families, so they're coming to stay with us and like you say in your boot camp, it's just 3 times as much the revenue. And that's what I
Incredible.
want to explore going forward. How do we connect with people with the, as you call, accommodation specialists?
Yes.
Um, you know,
Yeah.
and that's one of my thing, but also the other thing that just came through is we did our duplicate listings.
Hmm.
First of all, we had issues with Airbnb telling us you can't do duplicate. So we
Hmm.
had to relist them individually. So you couldn't just pick up the photos and everything, just duplicate it. So that was a bit of extra work. But anyways, we got it all done.
On the
Uh,
same account?
on the same account, yeah, but called it different names and things,
Okay.
different photos. But one of my main sort of struggle at the moment is they're asking to remove one of my listing.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so like how do I get over that?
yeah, so let me a few things. So number one, and the reason I asked on the same account is because one of the things that we believe that we had to do ourselves is we didn't get flagged for a long time, but what we did is we used it as an opportunity to create a corporate account. Because originally when we created our account, it was, hey, it was me, it was Ruben.
Yeah.
Um, and now what we did is we created an actual Invested Escapes account, which is the name of our company, where we actually want an account that just specializes in temporary housing. And that way, not only is it beneficial that on a separate account with that same listing, it won't get flagged, or at least, again, algorithms can change from the time that
Mm.
I'm recording this and I'm speaking with you. That hasn't been an issue. However, we are well aware that they started to, I don't know if they had a sweep or they were doing a cleanup exercise, but they started to flag some of our previous duplicate listings on the same account. Now you may say, well, Ruben, how do I actually get a different account? Again, different email, different phone number. If you need to have a different phone number, you can use a Google phone number for verification, etc. And that
Mhm.
that is actually great for your business as an asset, because I like the idea of being able to have an asset that I can hand off without giving my Airbnb account. So if I would have started earlier, I would actually had, and I would have known that we would have gotten to this space, I would have actually created a separate account that then also becomes an asset that I believe, if you do this long enough, could also be a sellable asset, because now you have this seasoned um, temporary housing uh, profile that, if you one
Mhm.
day decide to sell your business, could be another asset that you could sell as well, as it will have season reviews, season, interest, etc. So that would be my first reaction to that.
Mhm.
The number two question I want to ask you is the one that you said. I always like to double down on what works. You mentioned that you previously you had pure insurance claims. Where did those come from, and where how did they reach out to you?
Agents, it's a travel agency that gives
Mm.
us work, and they deal with housing association, and so it's
Okay.
kind of triple. Uh,
Where did they
um,
find you?
where did they find us? Obviously, we listed on a couple of, like, I don't know, you heard of Silver Door, Situ over here. They're the
No,
couple of, you know,
it's the
um,
equivalent of like what we would have here of
yeah, ALE,
relocation.
yeah,
Yeah.
equivalent of that. So they list all the properties on there. So we were with them for quite a while. And I think that's how we got introduced to this travel agent who looks up, purely relocation and insurance claims.
And
So
what made you list on that silver?
Silverdor.
Silver.
Well, um, I attended, I don't know, online meeting and I met their CEO. So,
Nice.
I was talking and he kind of approached us really and said, "Are you listed with us?" And he gave me his email and then, it just kind of went quite quickly that way through him rather than going the normal route. So, yeah.
Have you looked at others since then, similar?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, obviously we are on all of the normal stuff like booking.com, Airbnb, stuff like that. Um, but what I need to really kind of hone down is these relocation specialist people over here that I can really talk to or even be listed on, because you talk about yours over there, but there's
Mhm.
not much mention of who I can list my properties on.
Yeah.
I mean, the other ones are just insurance itself, contacting national insurance people
Hmm.
is another
Um,
way, maybe.
well, look, here's what I'm actually doing in real time right now, and I was gonna see if I can help you trying
Yeah.
to relocate. So here's the exercise I would do. Let me see. Let's see. What is this?
Because the other two I mentioned are not really insured. I mean, I don't know. They do everything really, um, um, just like an Airbnb, but so a little bit longer stay. Contractors, corporate, they do that kind of stuff more than the insurance side. But I really need to be more insurance specific. Um,
Okay,
because
so let what I'm pulling up right now.
yeah,
Um, so I like leveraging a lot of search engines when it comes to that.
yeah,
Um, and one of the things I did, I'm gonna share my screen,
yeah,
because I truly believe we're in a position where we need to leverage as much as the the tools that we have readily available to us. So, for example, like like AI tools like ChatGPT, right? Have you used something like that in the?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Do
Okay,
it for other stuff, but
have you done it
yeah,
for this?
not so much on this
Oh, I'll
side,
tell
but
you. Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. Oh, this is good. I'm glad we're having this conversation
yeah,
because even though you can see my screen, can you see this
I
screen?
can. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay, so I said, can you help me find relocation agency in the UK like Silver Door? And I don't know if that's exactly its name. They said, certainly, if you're seeking relocation agent in the UK, similar to Silver Door, here are several reputable options to consider. So already it's giving me names that I would want to at least look into, check out their website, just to get familiar to see it's even a good fit. I'm seeing a few here. Again, kind of all over Liverpool. I know is on the other side, skills, luxury lifestyle. So that's just one area that I go. Then I narrow it down um to one that actually makes sense. So if I
Yeah.
went to this one, then I would actually, and I have a quick look, mobility search for your global workforce, etc. So this seems more workforce driven. So then I said, okay, let me actually do this. Uh and then when selecting relocation agency, consider factors such as range of services offered. Okay, great. Areas of specialization. Exactly. So then on top of that, I said, what is the equivalent of Airly Solutions, CRS, Alacrity Solutions in the UK? And then it said in the UK, there are several companies provided services akin to those offered by Airly Solutions, CRS in the United States, focusing on temporary housing and comprehensive claims management for insurance policyholders. Here are some notable examples. So you see how like I asked a different question and I got a
Mm.
more kind of uh deeper kind of I guess more refined outcome.
Search. Yeah.
So and again, I'm just doing this in real time with you, but that would probably be the exercise where if I found one or two that like where, ooh, this is policyholders, this is strictly insurance, then I would actually say take those company names and be like, are there other uh, you know, complementary or similar like kind companies in your specific city? I don't know if I said the UK is fairly large, right? So I don't know if there's specific to, I guess, where your whereabouts, and you don't have to disclose it here, but you can kind of just say, hey, Ruben, I'm in this area. So I'm going to refine my search to be in this area. And then I'm going to go broader because then you might
Mm.
get different names. And I think to your point, I mean, I've said this many times. This is certainly a relationship game, and you do not need that many relationships, especially if you land a company that gets a lot of volume. Now you're riding on the coattails of that company where they're thinking of you first because there's not that many people, A, who are willing to be on this call right now, and
Mhm.
B, do the research that you're going to do, and then C, most importantly, make the phone call, make
Mhm.
the email to say, hey, listen, we are, here's our brand name, here's our website. We have several properties. I always keep it high level here in the UK,
Mhm.
and we provide our services to companies such as you. Are you currently, who is the best person, and what is the best way for me to be able to provide this inventory that we have? And then I silence, and then based on that question,
Mhm.
they'll say, "Oh, yes, send us all." And by the way, anytime I have conversation in this kind of corporate niche, I always get excitement on the other end because, like, oh, there's one of us. There's someone who understands our
Mhm.
needs, and they're happy to say, "Hey, by the way, email all your properties there." And then you might say, "Hey, I have more than one, so is it best for me to do it one by one if I put it on the website, or there's someone I can be in touch with that could, benefit from having the entire Rolodex?" Right? Let them know that you're kind of a kind of
Mhm.
just position yourself as like a serious vendor. Even if they're all 100% occupied, even if they're not available currently, it doesn't matter. It's just about getting the foot in the door and having that relationship. So
Yeah.
that would be my biggest thing. While I do know some companies by top of mind, the exercise in my approach does not change. I've done it even here in Georgia where I said, what are some other local companies like an ALE Solutions, like Alacrity, or like a THD? Well, it's the same
Mhm.
company now, or like a CRS. Give me those. And then when they give you those, be like, that can't just be it. There must be more. Can you elaborate?
Mhm.
Have the AI tool elaborate and give you a list. And then I would do just what you did. It's a relationship based game in the beginning. I think it's important that you're reaching out and you're not just thinking, just do you have something now? I think what you're asking the question is, who is the best person I can position myself to be in front of so that when you do have something, you think of me first. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, these companies don't want you to list your properties or anything. It's like you said, it's a telephone call, email, and then when something comes up, they get in touch with you because it's not stock that they're holding all the time. They may have something,
Yeah.
but it's obviously building a relationship with them, to
Yeah.
to tell them who we are and what we can do for them, and maybe mention the areas that we operate in. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I would even ask, this is a key question to ask them, Harvey, is, you know, what is the best way for me to get in touch with you periodically? Because our inventory can change. Might have availability one week and then the next I get booked, but then I'm available again. And my
Mhm.
goal is to prioritize you as a partner. And so what is the best way? Is it a phone call? Is it an email? Because the last thing I want to do is send you an email that you don't want to open. If you're anything like me, I hit spam, right? Like kind
Yeah.
of foster that, okay, great. And then they might say, oh, actually, the best way is to email us, and then say, hey, again, I really want to respect your inbox. How often is too often? Is once a month? Is it
Mhm.
twice a month good? And honestly, typically, and I'll give you this one tip too, Harvey, is they will tell me exactly what is best for them. And they'll say, you know what, Ruben, do me a favor. When you're
Mm.
emailing me, make sure you put the city zip code, if you have one, right, of the property or the area that you can cover, because what ends up happening is I will end up doing a search in my inbox at some point and be like, "Ooh, I need someone in this area," and I'll do a control find, and guess who's
Yeah.
gonna pop up? Harvey, right? And it might be a month down from now, it might be 2 months down from now, it could be 2 days from now. It's
Mm.
good that you're popping up frequently with their permission in their inbox. That way, when they need something, you'll be the one that pops up first.
Um, so do you just mention an area or a particular postcode? Because obviously properties can be in different postcodes, but a
Right.
similar area.
I do area, so I'll do
Yeah.
Metro Atlanta, I'll do a Metro this. And even then I don't even hold back from being able to say, broader. I just say, think of Georgia, think of me. I'll let you know. I'll help educate you how close it is to the proximity that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't make an assumption, at least we don't make an assumption that these companies know the landscape. Some of these folks are working sometimes nationwide and they think, oh, they think Georgia is the same thing. But I'm like, hey, just so you know, this area, that's going to be an hour and a half from, the subject location. You may, with traffic, you may
Yeah.
want to actually look at this one that's 20 minutes away. Does that work for that family or would that be too far? Like having that where, you know what, Har- you know, uh, you know, it's Harvey's the go-to expert. Let me just give her a call. All right, having that kind of relationship is what you want, where they might ask you, "Is would this work in this area, or is that too far?" Or sometimes they'll give you even the subject property's address, which is good because you can kind of gauge where they're coming from, which allows you to do your magic math.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. I'm going to use that AI. So is there a screenshot you can probably just send me or put in
I can.
chat?
I'll send you a screenshot and I'll send you this prompt.
Yeah.
Um, that via email. Since I have
Yeah,
you
if you
in
could,
email.
please. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'll keep you updated and see how
yeah,
we're getting on the ground here.
yeah.
It
It sounds like you've made some good progress already, which is great to hear. That the fact that you've landed it is great. Now it's like, okay, how do we do repeat business? And don't sleep on repeat business either. It's really important that if you housed, here's one of the things I do. When you have someone that you've housed and you've closed a deal with, go
Mhm.
back to them, be like, hey, we had such a pleasure taking care of this family, or it's such a pleasure being able to take care of these families during the holidays. Just want to reach back out as we get around the new season or the new year, because I always want to make sure we're prioritizing you. Is there anyone else that we can help with in your area, in this area? Is there anyone that you're looking to relocate in this area that we have? Just kind of like leveraging, you are already placed somebody with this agency or this company. Reach out to them as the lowest hanging fruit before you go elsewhere, because you already have a warm contact, warm lead, and then you can name drop the family's name. Hey, it's been a pleasure hosting the Jones family over the holidays. That always warms our heart here. As we get into the new year, is there anyone else you might be looking to house in this area? uh, and then question mark. Don't say passive, please let me know. Ask it directly. That way they have to answer the question. Or don't ever say, let me know if there's anyone looking in your office. Ask, hey, can you please forward this email to anyone who could benefit from this um, availability in your office? That's much
Mhm.
direct. It's less passive. So make sure you're making direct call to actions as well, because that can go a long way. And then you can nudge someone and be like, hey, just want to make sure you saw this. Oh, yes, Harvey, thank you so much for following up. As a matter of fact, I do have someone in this location. That is a good way to be very direct and proactive in your communication.
The other thing is the email. Do you have a template of how we should be approaching these relocation
And
specialists?
in a 2 day boot camp, you're in a 2 day boot camp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
two
you should
day or
have it.
3 day boot
Yeah,
camp.
yeah, you should have a template there. I'll make a note to check. There is an email template that we do include in there.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of call it out for you, and then I'll also send you this one that we just discussed on the AI prompt as well.